And you've done it many times. You've done it with Time Warner. You've done it with Yahoo. What have you done? If you could just outline for us your process a little bit here.
Absolutely. So the second time that I did it was when I moved to India and I was working with a tech company and I wanted to be able to help them to understand how to put in play defining their culture and the value of the behaviors. And I wasn't sure if it was going to play out because in a completely different culture on the other side of the world, it could have gone the opposite way, but the process is culturally adaptable. And that's where it really helps. So the process basically involves 6 phases. So the various phases starts out with the assess phase where you identify the current state of where the organization is from a behavioral perspective. So an engagement survey is a good way to start. Focus group interviews, reviewing exit data, reasons why people are exiting, reasons why people turn down offers for that company also gives you a lot of clues. And then moving into discover. And in discover phase is where you discover what do you want your culture to be? So how do you decide what's in, what's out? If you've got a culture that already exists, what do you want to keep? What do you want to get rid of? What do you want to change? And then after that, identifying, articulating behaviors that align to that culture. The fourth phase is to activate it. When you activate it, that means creating broad awareness across the company, ensuring that everybody knows about these behaviors. Again, I showed you everybody at SprintRay gets this embedment,
Yeah.
which has the behaviors. All new hires get this their first day. And we don't just talk about it, we have them do a personal core values alignment to. So we have our new hires write down what their personal values are and align them to these behaviors. And it's usually a telltale to us that we might have made a hiring mistake if they're not able to do that alignment. But in most cases, they're able to do that because we changed our recruiting processes so that we're asking behavioral questions during the recruitment process to really assess if there's a culture fit. And then we also do a final interview, which was borrowed from an Amazon technique called the bar raiser. And when we look at the bar raiser, we're not looking at are they going to raise the bar on performance? We're looking at are they going to raise the bar on the relationship side of the business? Are they going to fit into our culture from a relationship perspective? So when you activate, you're actually making people aware, you're measuring the positive outputs and rewarding positive demonstration of behaviors. You're not yet concerned with mistakes or lack of demonstration because you want to motivate people to it. Then the next phase is called integrate. And when you integrate, that's when you have to go across your entire organization and look at all the ways you can integrate these behaviors into your processes, into your project kickoff teams, your recruiting, your onboarding, your ongoing development, your career discussions, your assessment dialogues, your bonus dialogues, everything. So we integrate it into all of our processes across. And in the last phase, we call transformation, which is where you're actually measuring the ongoing effects of that. Is it really moving the bar? And at SprintRay, we actually started with 9 behaviors. And after a year and a half, we discovered that some of these behaviors weren't really moving the bar. They were counterintuitive. They were more aspirational. So we desired it, but it really wasn't our culture. Here's an example of one that we eliminated. We used to have a behavior called work-life alignment. When you are a startup that is growing at the pace that we were growing and are growing at, work-life alignment is a little bit sacrificial at that point for most people who are coming in because you're always in catch-up mode. It's always lean because you're growing, you're expanding, and it's very difficult to keep up with it. And so you need to attract people who understand that sacrifice. And so promising work-life alignment and work-life balance when it wasn't really feasible at that point in our maturity. Now, someday it will be, and we'll put it back in. But at that point, it wasn't feasible. And so we had to make the decision, take it out, because as a company and as employees, we were felt like we were making a commitment that we couldn't achieve.
And it makes so much sense. And two things. One, I love that you have people put down their personal goals in alignment with the company behaviors. That I'm sure just reinforces this is a company that personally I believe in. They align with who I am and what I am as a person. Am I reading that right?
Yeah, exactly. Because if you look at our behaviors, put the customer first, solve problems, elevate all voices, speak up and speak out, and own your passion. It's very difficult for somebody to put their own values down and not be able to see an alignment to those values, because there's nothing in there that says we're asking you to give up who you are. We're not asking people to be inauthentic. In fact, we're encouraging authenticity by saying, here's what we expect of you. And you know what? If these behaviors don't resonate with you, we're not the right company for you. And so we don't want you to come here and suffer because this is the Kool-Aid that we're drinking.